Hello guys, today I'm going to change the shock absorber on a BMW E90. This procedure is also applied to all BMW E91, 92 and 93, both 3 and 5 series. First check up the car and secure it with the jack stand and make sure car sits on the jack stands firmly. If the car is too low to lift up from the front, then you might need to lift up the car from the side and you will be able to slide the floor jack under the car from front side. Or you can use pair of car ramps if you have them. Remove the wheel. You will need 17mm socket for that. To remove the shock absorber, you're gonna need to unbolt the brake caliper assembly, sway bar end link, forward and backward control arms, tie rod and strut mounting clamps, and the top mount bolts under the hood. And you're gonna need to remove the ABS sensor as well. First thing first, remove the brake caliper assembly. It is secured with two 16mm fastener. These bolts are hard to remove. You can apply penetrating oil on the bolts, which will help a bit. You also might need a long ratchet or breaker bar for better leverage. In order to remove the caliper assembly, you need to release the tension. Use a flat head screwdrivers or small breaker bar to push the brake piston in. I'm hanging the caliper assembly on the shock spring for the time being, and later I will put it on the bucket upside down. You don't want to put tension on the brake hose. That's the purpose. Next, remove the sway bar end link. You will need the 16mm socket for the bolt and 17mm wrench to hold the end link stud. Here you can see where to use wrench. This helps to avoid spinning of end link stud. Once the nut is out, you might need to pry bar to push the sway bar up so that you can take out the end link. Or you can use a floor jack underneath to push the knuckle assembly. You will see in a second what I mean. Here you can see the end link is now ready to come out. Next, we're gonna remove the ABS sensor. You will need 6mm Allen socket or key. Once the bolt is out, use the pry bar to pry out the sensor and be careful not to break it. Next, remove the tie rod end. Now it is tricky part. You will need T30 Torx bit to hold the stud and 21mm socket or a wrench for the nut. Most of the time these Torx heads get rounded off, making it hard to turn the nut because the tie rod end stud starts to spin along with the nut. So I tried first pry bar and impact gun method. You need to push the tie rod end upward with a pry bar and then use impact gun. Usually it works for me. Here you can see the footage from the other car. But in this car it was failed. It did not work this time. So I have to try other method. But it was failed too. And as expected the Torx head got rounded off. So I was forced to use the angle grinder to cut it off. I had to get new tie rod end later. Now we're gonna loosen the both control arms. You will need to remove the plastic cover for the better access to the control arm boards. For the plastic panel you're gonna need 8 and 10mm socket. Once you remove the plastic panel, you will have better clearance. You will need 18mm socket for control arms. In some BMWs you just need to loosen the bolt only, but in my case this bolt has to be come out completely because the shock assembly had not enough clearance to come out of the assembly. Once the bolts are out, now remove the shock clamp bolt. You're gonna need 18mm socket and the wrench. Unfortunately, after removing the nut, the bolt was stuck due to full of rust, so I had to cut that bolt off as well. And luckily I had extra spare bolts, so I was not hesitant to cut it off and save some time. Now remove the 3 bolts holding the shock absorber from the top. You're gonna need 13mm socket and wrench. Before removing the shock spindle out of the clamp, you will need to spread clamp first with a chisel or a spreader socket. Here you can see the special spreader socket and the chisel. I'm gonna use spreader socket instead. Now the shock assembly is free to come out of the clamp. You can mark the spring with the top mount and the bottom rubber cushion. It will help as a guide point to install the new strut at its right place. I'm using this spring compressor. You can get them from Amazon or eBay for 100 bucks. Pretty handy tool. It comes with the instruction manual. It's pretty easy to use and kind of self-explanatory. You just need to pick up the right size adapter clamp from the kit. There are some other very cheap spring compressor available in the market, but I would not recommend to use them as they are very dangerous and risky. The risk of getting injured is pretty high, I would say. I have used that spring compressor in some of my old videos. I put the link in the description if you wanna watch that. But you have to be very careful in any of these methods anyway. Once the spring is compressed enough, unscrew the top bolt. You will need a pass-through wrench and an Allen key to hold the spring stud. Allen key will hold the strut and stop it from spinning. Or you can use vice grip plier to hold the strut and unscrew the nut with normal socket. But vice grip method is not recommended for the new strut. It can damage the strut pipe or can cause leakage in the future. Once the strut is out of the spring, remove the rubber boots. New boots come with the new strut usually. Before installing the strut, make sure the new part is same as the old one. Remove the rubber cushion from the old part and put it on the new part. Install the new strut and rubber boots into the spring. Make sure to use the proper torque specs. These two notches are guides to put the strut into the right position into the clamp. Now screw back the three 13mm nuts. Here you can see the guide notches for the proper positioning. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Now the strut is installed, reverse the whole process and make sure all the nuts and bolts installed back with the proper torque specs. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If this video was helpful, consider to like and subscribe my channel. I will see you in another video. Thanks for watching.